What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. So it's about that day. We're going to jump right into discussing Sharon and seeing the update that she's getting tonight, which should be pretty interesting. I'm excited about it. Anyways, the reason why I'm excited about Sharon Rodgers getting an update overall is because typically their OG characters, maybe not Crescent so much, but specifically characters like Sharon Rodgers, typically fall into that gamut of like Sharon and Luna Snow get a lot of love. So I'm expecting her to get a lot of love. So anyways, let's take a look at this preview trailer. I've been waiting for this. All right. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Overall, the uniform, I'm not really feeling it. Right? Like I don't know what the name of the game is. So if I say the wrong name, then just take it for what it is, grain of salt or whatever. But I think it's the Dead or Alive game. She looks like one of the characters from there, and like a cheap, sleazy, cheesy ripoff of Harley Quinn with the pigtails and the what do you call that? The graded hair coloring and everything. Like it just looks terrible. Like I don't know. Like her face has this all American pie, like all Americana kind of look to it. But the rest of the uniform, I don't know. Maybe like the leg stuff looks cool, whatever. But not exactly feeling this uniform overall. Like especially by comparison to some of the uniforms that she's had previous, like the light series armor uniform. It's one of my favorite uniforms that she's had. But again, this basically only gives me room and reason to say, why do we still not have a transmog system inside this game? It would be very, very good. So anyways, so when they dropped a sneak peek last week, we basically got this message. This is CM Fragment of Marvel Future Fight. The superhero who battles evil in her quest for peace and justice has returned. Check out the new look and powers of this superhero who uses her lance and shield to protect the world. So patch notes are here, so I'm going to give it to you. I just don't see the point of like teasing that out or whatever. Don't forget the 8-year homecoming countdown has already begun. So that tier 3 giveaway is coming, but you know, it's a tier 3. So nevertheless, it is what it is. Oh no, what's this update for? Who knows what that update for is. So it's kind of sad because basically, well, not sad. Look, we got basically Squirrel Girl and Thanos, and then basically we end up with Sharon Rodgers, and this really feels like the gap filler to Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think there's going to be some people who say, hey, hold your breath and hold your expectations for the characters that are coming out, because Guardians of the Galaxy is right around the corner. You could end up with potential updates for Star-Lord. You could end up with updates for Adam Warlock, because Adam Warlock is a blast type character. But so let's take a look at that real quick. So let's go inside here for our team, and then let's go blast. There we go. So we got our blast type characters. So like Adam Warlock we know he's in the movie. Will Poulter is going to be playing him. Star-Lord is sitting inside the movie, so we more than likely get an update for him. I don't think he's going to get shunned the way Shuri, Black Panther, and how I expect Miles Morales to get did. If you know, then you know. But we basically got those characters in line for update for the movie. Who else? That's it really that I can see. Oh, Rocket's there, but Rocket's gonna he's still got to go T3, so he's not basically gonna be there. But we could potentially, my expectation would be that we see a T3 for Rocket inside of here overall. So blast type characters there. Now here goes the reason why I'm gonna tell you not to hold off and wait for these. Like Star-Lord traditionally never got that fever pitch hype, and like Sharon Rodgers she is her. That's what it is. She is her. For like Marvel Future Fight, Sharon Rodgers is her. Like that's just the truth of the matter. Unless it's Luna Snow, Sharon Rodgers is her. All right. So let's take a look at this update overall, see what we're getting inside here. Like I love this uniform. You can look at her previous uniforms. She has had quite a bit of them, from the Starlight uniform, which was my favorite of the uniform class with the short haircut, to her Dark Star armor, was a pretty dope looking uniform. Star Knight armor was the least of my favorites. And we look like we're basically returning. Like if you're being honest and you were to look at the visual for the picture, it looks like we're returning to her 75th anniversary uniform, because man, let me pull this back up real quick so that way you guys can see it overall. But essentially it looks like we're getting a return to this uniform, right? Because like if I was to go inside the sneak peek, let me pull this up real quick. I'm gonna pull it up for you so that way you can see. So let me turn that volume down for this, and then we can look at this. So, Jesus Christ. All right, here we go. So looking at this uniform overall, like if you were to just look at it head on for what it is, right? So like this, her lance looks like it's got a little bit of an upgrade there, but it looks like it's somewhat a return to form. The shield looks pretty much the same, even the placement on the collar here. And then like looking at her boots, they look like the similar boots there, and they got somewhat discoloration over here. So she's got basically knee high, thigh highs on and stuff like that or whatever. So it's somewhat similar to her 75th anniversary. I guess not exactly alike or whatever. It's just hard to look at that uniform comparatively to some of her other uniforms. You know, she basically went Gundam on us here. So it's like weird Darling in the Franxx kind of look or whatever that she's got going on here. I love this uniform, but like I said, the Starlight uniform was my favorite of all her uniforms. So anyways, let's jump into this character. Let's take a look at her skills and stuff like that to see what we get in the patch update details. We're only getting the one new uniform. She is getting tier 4, so if you were unaware about that, let's take a look. So anyways, uniform effects that she basically has on here. So let's take a look at this, right? So her uniform effects, she basically had the chain hit damage at 25, and she gets the decreased basic damage received, which was 10%, is now going to be 40% inside there, right? All right, cool. So now let's take a look at some of her skills. So leadership, basically it's still the same. She gets the 50% of max HP inside here, 25% hit rate, applies to all allies. Not a lot to write home about. You're not basically using her for that. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Let me just go back from here. I don't want to see it that way. Let's go look at the skills. There we go. Haha. So passive lance, her expert lancer is now going to be called Legacy of Valor. It's going to be a tier 2. She gets increased guaranteed crit rate by 10% on this skill. Then she ignores target's dodge rate by 35% and increases skill damage, stays the same at 45%, and then gets a little bonus damage there from 20 to 15 to 35, so 15% damage there. Now her skill fortification doesn't look like there's going to be a whole lot of change, I guess, on this one. Fortification, she gets well, hold on, excuse me, she gets 20% ignore defense, so a 10% boost there, but then she just keeps the increase all basic defenses and super armor for 30%, so not a whole lot movement there. Reverb shield is now going to be called Shield Benq Shot. She gets stun on this skill, and then the energy damage is at 40% of energy attack for 339 damage instead of the 1120 damage. Weird, but we're not really rotating into 1 and 2 skills a whole lot, especially with just nothing more than a stun on it. Just it is what it is. So then she gets Poseidon's Lance Dash to replace Shield Rush. And that skill is going to be interesting because there's a V-pad skill. So she's going to actually be able to move while she's using that skill. She gains paralysis, which ignores immunity, and it applies to enemies. So cool, right? And then she gets energy damage. I think this is written wrong because it's like applies to enemies. And then it says paralysis ignores immunity, but then it also has energy damage underneath there. What? Oh, whatever. We know how that's going to play out. So it's just paralysis. Might as well not apply to enemies. I don't know what they did with that. So anyway, so we go to her third skill, Vanguard Lance, is now going to become Poseidon's Cannon. So she gets burn on this skill. She gets silence as well. She gets the 100% chance to grant all immunity damage, and she keeps her damage accumulation on that third skill. No big changes there. We'll have to see how that plays out a little bit differently inside there. Her fourth skill, Laser Buster, is now going to become Roar of Valor. She gets silence and incapacitation, so that's good. And then she also gains invincible for 5 seconds instead of 1 second. And then she increases basic damage by 60% for 1 attack. And then that's it. This is all she gets for fourth skill. So we lose out on a bleed, who cares? And we basically lose out on a stun and the defense all down, but who cares, right? Her fifth skill is now going to be called Celestial Strike. She gains burn, snare, fracture. She gets the decrease all basic defense is moved from the fourth skill basically to the fifth skill. And then we get a crit rate bonus for 35% and a recovery of 35% HP instead of the 10% HP. So actually the crit rate increase is already there. It's the same thing. I don't know how I missed that or whatever. So that's basically what she's getting overall for her kit. Now, this doesn't look like a whole lot of changes in my opinion, right? Because it's like minor changes. Now, the thing is with Sharon Rodgers, we've always gotten somewhat of a power output type character. She's never particularly been like one of my favorites to play type characters, but she's always been a good character, like a decently tiered character. Like, here goes the truth of the matter. If you went into updating this like Thanos, which I imagine a lot of people did, more than likely you're going to roll into this update and you're not going to have the resources to go after Sharon Rodgers. You're not going to have the resources to go after Adam Warlock or freaking any other tier 4 character for all that instance. But if you do have the resources, Sharon Rodgers would be one of those characters where I'd be like, you know what, yeah, go ham on it, because she's probably going to be a benchmark type character generally because of her OG type status for the game. So it is what it is. Now her tier 4, she's going to get an additional 15% HP on it, and she acquires the following effect for 10 seconds, which is the activation rate. When a skill, regular attacks excluded, is used, increase all basic attacks by 10% for a max of 40%. Not exactly sure how it's going to work, but I'm expecting the character overall to just be a PvE type character. And if I'm being 100% honest, from her skill changes and looks, it looks like she's going to end up being one of those characters that like fits sandwiched really nice and neatly, but she's not going to be any more powerful than Jean. She's not going to be any more powerful than Thanos. And in all likelihood, Adam Warlock will probably storm the scene, and if he gets a T4, she won't be more powerful than him, especially at a native. But in terms of a free-to-play character that's come into the game, she will be a very nice blast type character, especially because I think for most of us, right, if we go to the team skills inside here, not just looking at the blast type characters, but let's look at the blast type characters who are female, right? So essentially right now we've got blast, and then where's female? Why can I not look up female characters? What's going on here? Why can I not look at females? Can I not change just females? I guess I can't. I thought you could separate by females. Maybe I can't. So anyways, but if we look at some of the blast type female characters that are currently there in the game, you basically got Storm, who's sitting over there, right? She just basically has to be better than Storm. She has to be better than Blue Dragon, right? That's another tier 4 character inside the mix. You can switch out for Storm for Jean Grey to be a blast type character if we were to go back on some of her previous uniforms, although I doubt that's something that you want to do. And that's all the T4s that she essentially has to beat. Do I expect them for her to beat out Blue Dragon, another OG character? Yes, 100%, especially with how unpopular that character was. And then to beat out Storm, 100% I expect her to beat out Storm. Again, if you know, then you know. That's just the bottom line truth to it, right? So at this point, it is what it is, right? Like, just take that into mind. So she's poised to be one of those characters that would be a good blast type female character to have if you absolutely need a blast type female character to have for climbing world boss legend stages. Now, outside of the Sharog update, we're also getting a very, very cool 8-year anniversary comic card by one of my favorite artists, Stanley Artgerm. So you can see the Artgerm variant here with Luna Snow. Now, the interesting part about seeing this Artgerm variant is what's the expectation of us getting a Luna Snow T4 here in the future. Now, that's not to, you know, drop on the card either. It's a very cool looking card in terms of just the art, but it's also a good looking card in terms of the stats and bonuses. You got cooldown duration, ignore defense, and then you can see like energy attacks, max HP, crit rate, and so forth. And then you got like some crit damage over here with dodge. We got all basic defense, all basic attacks, recovery rate. So you got like what, your 6 bonus option. We just got 2 terrible stats in there. Resist. You got 1, 2, 3 terrible stats at the 5-star option, and then we got one really over here at the 4, and then 1, 2 2 over here at the 3. So it's a good card. What I really would like them to do is make these premium cards and their giveaway cards. Like, I know they'll never do that, but it'd be nice as a premium card anyways. So they're also releasing these potential level 8 to 12 potential enhanced tickets and level 9 through 12 advanced potential enhanced tickets. And they're going to basically be telling us how we're going to be receiving those. But yeah, I'm expecting a little bit of win bag money here, but they can't also be used on your tier 2s and native tier 2s and tier 3 characters. So it is like much ado about nothing. Now, to go back to my girl Sharon, right, and to talk about this, the good thing about Sharon Rodgers coming in is I don't think there's going to be a lot that you need to basically enthuse players in order to get her, right? Like I said, it's a free-to-play option. She's pretty strong as is. She's always been a strong character in terms of representation. And like, you know, you ultimately look at it in terms of a buy-off statement inside with the character, right? Is she going to be good enough for you to invest in at the tier 4 stat and basically be able to help you clear content? And my expectation is that she will probably end up being like a really good world boss legend and a really good giant boss raid type character. And she'll probably have some feasibility inside ABX if you're playing that. Not my thing or whatever, but clearly not a timeline character at all. So you can wait for Star-Lord, who has traditionally not been that great of a character inside this game, and you could wait for Adam Warlock, who, you know, will dethrone the likes of, more than likely will dethrone the likes of any of the male type blast characters. But she fits in that really nice position. Or just hold on to your stuff. Like, this is really one of those characters at T4 moments. Like, I don't have enough resources to go into T4 in characters like at that rate, like the rate at which you need to T4 characters. I ain't got that resources. I just put all my eggs into Thanos, who I'm absolutely loving, but I ain't got those resources. Like, I'm down and out, and until they give us additional ways to earn Carbonadium and Souls of the Faultine along with additional Life Seed resources, there's just no way that, you know, any of your free-to-play players who are not paying and picking up that monthly store purchase, you know what I'm talking about, because I know a lot of people are purchasing these to pick up that monthly store purchase. You're not, you don't have that, man. Like, you just don't have that. Like, let's be real. Unless you purchasing this all the time, you ain't got it. You just don't got it. So it is what it is. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Sharon. We'll see what she looks like, and I'll jump on here tomorrow and just basically look at the uniform, because I have no intent to level Sharon to tier 4. It's not that I wouldn't if I could, but I wouldn't. If I was being honest with you, I would wait 100% until Guardians of the Galaxy got released and I got to see whether or not Adam Warlock was coming to the game for that. But again, I only level up characters to tier 4 based on my favorite of teams. Like, I don't go in and go ham on just I don't go in and just go ham on every character just because they're a character there. Like, these are some of my favorite characters, so I've leveled tier 4 them up because I'll play with these characters at all times any given day of the week. That's just the truth of the matter. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace.